everyone, today I'll be reviewing this new movie. It is on Netflix. It's called Through My Window and it is starring Julio Pena, Claire Gale, and this movie is directed by Marshall Forrest. This movie starts with Raquel. She has a huge crush on her next door neighbor, Aris, and this movie actually starts with very interesting storyline. Although when I was watching it, I had many questions like how is these people, they are so rich, but their internet is like, why is they using their internet like the next door neighbor? It was very weird at first, I must say, although this movie does explain to you why he was using her internet, but started out it give you huge question. That being said, this movie is based on a book, so I see many people are not happy with this movie, the way it was adapted. So I will say this movie starts out really very interesting, like the way it was. I was hoping it will be very interesting movie, although this movie was trying to do something different here, especially the way it ends. I liked what was it going for, although this movie always didn't translate on the screen you are watching, because a lot of your time you have to spend with unnecessary stuff you don't care about. Especially we could have learned more about this character Raquel and Aris, or like only there is a couple of meaningful scenes I guess we learn about Aris. I found them very interesting because we got to know more about him. I wish we had more scene like that with Raquel. Instead of that, this movie has many like weird scene. Although these days most teen movies are like that, so I'm not gonna say movies are like that these days. So I understand that. But unfortunately, this movie didn't always translate what was it going for. It could have focused more on character, but that is what this director was going for. Overall, this movie is kind of mixed bag because this movie was like ended interesting way. I was like, oh, I wish I could see that on screen. But on the other hand, this movie did try to show you this Raquel, how much he changed Aris in this movie, because like end of this movie you see Aris, he's actually following his heart. He went to study medicine, which is something he always wanted to do. So in a way, Raquel, she helped him. But I don't know how she became a writer, Raquel, end of this movie. That was ridiculous. She was wearing glasses and she was a writer end of this movie. So this movie is definitely mixed bag. Again, it was going for interesting concepts. Some of the scene did looks very beautifully shot, the cinematography, because Aris comes from a very rich family. So there was one conflict in this movie. Didn't make any sense. I was like, is it the first time you learned that you are not rich enough for him? Like when she went to this party with Aris, with his his parents' house, and then Raquel find out that she's poor, like her mom is a waiter there. So my biggest question in this movie is how Raquel, she's living this rich people Aris next door. That is the biggest question. How they can afford their next door house, that is the biggest question. That means because they are loaded, Aris. If you have seen their house, what I liked in this movie is like the way this movie started out. Like she was keeping track on him. Like basically she was stalking him. I thought, oh my God, you're just straight stalking him. Of course, when he come and talk to her, she gets nervous. The way this nervousness translated in this movie, once again, it was ridiculous. Although I see many people didn't like the way other characters were treated in this movie. Yeah, it's really true. This movie just centers around these two characters. Other people are non-existent. Although I thought this movie will focus on Aris' other two brothers. But this movie refused to do anything beside these two people. Like I did not like many times. I was like, oh my God. This movie is definitely gonna turn off some people. It's not very I wouldn't say it's not well acted, because acting was, I would say the script they were giving, it was okay. It's just that I wish there was more to the story. Although it was going for very interesting thing, it didn't always deliver what was we were watching on screen. I had to fast forward many times. Unfortunately, I was like, oh my God, this is too much for me. So, but at the end, it was interesting. At the end, like last half an hour, like when you get to the real problem, like real world problem in this movie, felt interesting. That is where these two characters, I learned more about them, especially Aris. You see him, he struggled to live by his father's view. So that is why the last 40 minutes this movie was interesting, because this movie shows you like real problem. First act is like it's really, you have to sit through a lot of, so I would say fast forward it, then you can just you don't have to see all this thing you don't want to see in this movie. Anyway, that was my thought on this movie. Had some interesting concept, didn't always deliver on screen. Overall, I would say it was like it was a okay teen movie, I would say. And that's my thought on this movie. Let me know in the comment what do you think about this movie. And if you enjoyed my this review, don't forget your other reviews on other Netflix movie. Please subscribe and take care.